The brand new DLC Pack 4 for Le Mans Ultimate is releasing shortly, and today we'll show you every new car that it has to offer. Now in this newest DLC pack, we'll be getting 3 new LMGT3 cars. The Porsche 911 GT3R, the Aston Martin Vantage AMR, and the Ford Mustang, which will be available free for all players. Now we'll also be giving away a copy of this new DLC pack to one of you, more info on that at the end of the video. But now let's take a look at each new car, starting with the Porsche 911. So the Porsche was by far my favourite out of the 3 new cars, and to be honest, one of my favourite cars in the game so far. The first thing that stands out about it is the sound, and we'll take a look at what it sounds like from the outside. Now driving wise, it features all of the characteristics that you'd expect from a Porsche GT3, so if you enjoy driving other versions of the car in other simulators, then you'll feel right at home here. It features that iconic playful rear that surprisingly wasn't overly hard to control, and I never felt like I was actually going to lose the rear of the car completely. Then once I got used to it, I was then able to harness that extra rotation, and that's when the driving experience became very enjoyable and engaging. Low and mid-speed corners like we see in Sector 2 at Spa are where this car excels. However, it can be tricky to control in high-speed corners due to the very involved driving style required. Now by involved, I mean that when cornering with this car, you need to always either be on the brake or on the throttle pretty much at all times. Having the wheel turned and being off the throttle or brake for too long can cause the rear of the car to kick out. So it's important to use smooth trail braking when entering a corner, then getting back on the throttle before the rear starts to rotate too much. However, if you are in situations where you're about to lose the rear, especially in these longer fast corners like Huon, then usually a quick burst of throttle can bring the rear back into line. So given the higher skill cap required to drive this car, it's not necessarily the most beginner-friendly choice out of the three, but putting in the effort to learn how to drive it provides an incredibly fun and rewarding experience. And if you've driven other similar versions of the car in other simulators, then you'll come to grips with it fairly quickly. But now let's take a look at the Ford Mustang. Now this car was definitely easier to drive than the Porsche, however it does come with some particular quirks. Here's what it sounds like from the outside. Now when driving the car, it has a really nice initial turn in where the front pivots really nicely, especially in these mid-speed corners, although it does have a tendency to understeer during the mid-corner. Top speed was really good to be expected, and there's definitely a chance to see 290 kph on the straights with a few setup tweaks. The force feedback was also really enjoyable, and it gave me a good sensation of the weight transfer occurring in a heavy car like this. That being said, the car really dislikes sudden or consecutive changes in direction like at the Indianapolis corner, and it's really important to keep the car as balanced as possible. It's also very unstable under heavy braking, and I found myself constantly wrestling with the rear of the car during those heavy braking zones. Overall, the car is quite good, however, and it just requires a very smooth driving technique. Think of it as a platform. As long as you keep the platform balanced, then it'll perform well. But any overly aggressive or sudden inputs and you'll more than likely lose control. The car definitely rewards patience, and if you can come to grips with it, then you'll really enjoy what it has to offer. Now finally, let's take a look at the Aston Martin Vantage. Now this is definitely up there with the Porsche as one of the best sounding cars in the game. Now driving wise, this is definitely the GT3 that I recommend for beginners, and it's very similar to the BMW GT3, although without that annoyingly long 5th gear. The car's incredibly stable in pretty much every situation, to the point where it was almost a little bland in terms of driving style for my taste. It feels almost impossible to lose the rear of the car, and the most punishment you'll get for overly aggressive driving is some excessive understeer. Top speed and acceleration was really good, however, and the car takes curbs incredibly well even at high speeds. Overall, if you're new to Le Mans Ultimate or GT3 cars in general, then this is definitely the car that you want to start off with due to its very stable, forgiving nature and its solid performance, which requires very little knowledge or experience to use. So that was all the new cars in the upcoming DLC Pack 4, and between the three of them there's definitely something for everyone here, and I enjoyed all of them for their unique driving experiences. Whether you're looking for a highly engaging driving style with a higher skill cap, or you're new to the game and looking for something easy that you can just jump in and drive, at least one of these cars in the pack will give you what you're looking for, making it well worth the $749 price tag. Now we're also giving away a copy of the brand new DLC, and all you need to do to enter is let me know in the comments section which of these new cars that you're looking forward to driving the most. Now if you've got any more questions about the DLC pack or about Le Mans Ultimate in general, then let me know in the comments below. But as always, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.